Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. France's far right is in pole position after the first round of parliamentary elections that confirmed their dominance in French politics and brought them to the gates of power. Supporters of Marine Le Pen's anti-immigration national rally cheered as she said the president's Macronist bloc had been all but wiped out. RN won 33.1% of the vote, with a left-wing alliance behind it on 28%, and the Macron camp behind that on 20.76%. I aim to be Prime Minister for all the French people if the French give us their votes, said 28-year-old RN party leader Jordan Bardella. Never before has the far right won the first round of a French parliamentary election.
Ce soir,
tonight, I call on every French person attached to their freedom to the remedying of France to join me and amplify the dynamic and make the national union win against those who want to divide us, damage the public order and flout our values.
Democratic President Joe Biden's family has urged him to ignore calls to step aside following his disastrous debate against Republican Donald Trump. He spent Sunday with relatives at a presidential retreat where they encouraged him to keep fighting. Anxiety has gripped sections of the party following a rambling and at times incoherent performance in Atlanta. Polls since then suggest concerns about his age of 81 have increased. Airports and businesses have shut down and residents across the Caribbean have been urged to seek shelter as a potentially devastating storm hits the region. Hurricane Beryl, currently a few hours from landfall in Barbados, has sparked warnings of life-threatening winds and dangerous storm surges. A hurricane warning is in effect in Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Tobago. Dozens of flights have been cancelled across the region as Beryl approached on Sunday night, while leaders urged the public to heed warnings.
When you get to Category 4 strength, you can see things like total roof damage, roofs lifted off of homes, exterior wall collapse, trees uprooted, significant damage and complete destruction of power lines and other infrastructure.
Kenya's President William Ruto says the country will have to borrow more to keep the government running following the rejection of a hugely unpopular finance bill that was going to raise more money in taxes.
I will not sign the 2024 finance bill.
The president said he would withdraw the bill containing controversial tax hikes after deadly protests which saw Parliament set on fire. But he said dropping the bill had set the country back 2 years as he explained the difficulty of being unable to raise extra taxes while facing a huge debt burden. He said this meant Kenya would have to borrow 1 trillion shillings or $7.6 billion just to be able to run the government. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has unveiled a new coalition government after his ruling African National Congress party lost its parliamentary majority in May's elections. The ANC will have 20 out of 32 cabinet posts, while the pro-market Democratic Alliance, until now the main opposition party, will hold 6. 6 other portfolios are shared amongst smaller parties.
The partnership between the GNU parties is guided by a statement of intent which outlines fundamental principles and a minimum program of priorities. All the parties have made a commitment in writing to respect the Constitution and to promote accountable and transparent governance, evidence-based policies, and decision-making.
And a space rocket owned by a private Chinese company has accidentally launched itself during a test before crash landing into a hillside. Footage on social media shows the Tianlong 3 rocket falling back to Earth and exploding on the hill in central China's Henan province. The company responsible for the rocket, Tianbing Technology, said in a statement that there was a structural failure at the connection between the rocket body and the test bench, causing the rocket to take off. It added there were no casualties from the incident, as people in the area had been evacuated. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.